Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, America's competition shotgun, and is fueled by Fiocchi.
Welcome to the Dead Pair Podcast, coming in hot with everything you want to hear about sporting clays. With your hosts, Jason Rambo.
This is what I have to work with, everyone.
And Sean Alley.
Like I said, I was just thirsty.
Oh, boy.
Often imitated, but never duplicated. It's the Dead Pair Podcast. It's showtime.
Welcome back, everyone. What's up there, Mr. Alley?
Doing all right, Jason. Did you survive your trip back to Florida?
I did. Finally got our little break over with there. Very busy week for Sean and I at the Northeast Regional. And then, of course, I had to go up to Northern Ohio where they're building my towers and do a bunch of pictures and videos and stuff. So that was pretty cool. But want to extend a very big thank you to Jake Spangler and all the staff at the Cardinal Center for allowing us to meatheads to come in and set targets. And the amount of support we got, listen, I'm going to throw some names out there. Cyrus Alexander and his staff. Of course, Rick Hemingway and his staff. Zach Gorettas was there. Joe Skull, Rick Hemingway. Listen, I'm probably forgetting a lot of people, but there was so many people that helped us. I know Sean and I set the prelim, and then, of course, Jake had me setting the 12-gauge pump and side-by-side courses. I know they were a little tough, but it was the Northeast Regional. So, but they were very, very welcoming, very helpful to Sean and I. So we appreciate all the help that they gave us for sure.
Yeah, we'll take all that we can get, right?
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations to Brandon Powell winning that shoot. Of course, David Radulovich, big head himself, was runner-up on that shoot. Great shooting by both of those guys. We saw some very good targets there at that event. Main event was sent by Joe Skull on the red side and Rick Hemingway on the blue side. Fantastic target. I mean, really, to be honest, all the events I shot were great, great targets. Can't speak for my own. Wasn't allowed to shoot those, but we had a lot of compliments. And I'm just going to clarify right now, because if I heard it once, I heard it 100 times about number 9 on the prelim. That was not the way that I originally had that set. It was supposed to be 2 outgoing trap teals, and literally 8 a.m. Wednesday morning before the first rotation, they said the B target was dropping in the sun, so we had to make a move and turn both traps to one side, and it really created a tough pair. So apologize about that one, but again, it's Northeast Regional, right? So if we had a separator station, so be it.
But if all we get griped at is one station out of the whole course, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Make you feel like a real target setter.
Yeah, something like that. I had people that wanted to hug me and people that wanted to kill me. So that's right about where a target setter's life is.
Yep, no doubt. No, overall, I talked to a lot of people, and everybody was really cool with the targets. They said everything was very nice. Targets are very visible, and basically everybody from lower class shooters all the way up to the big guys. I think everybody was happy. So I don't think we could have done a better job, Jay, honestly.
Well, it's one of those things, you can't please everyone. And Sean, I know you were concerned wanting to set stuff a little bit lighter than what we did. And it's like, hey, how many times we said on this program that, go to some bigger shoots and get out and shoot some big targets. And I couldn't justify throwing things light. I think people get that at their regular monthly shoot, and we wanted
You're right. And then after I thought about it a little bit, I'm like, yep, you know what? You're absolutely right. And I personally don't think anything other than 9 was over the top. Everything was visible. We shot everything, vetted everything prior to the tournament ourselves, and I think both of us did well on it. So, or about as well as can be expected. So again, I don't think there was any major flaws, but at least I didn't hear about any.
No, I felt bad for that trapper girl on 9. She's like, man, people were getting frustrated, and I stopped in there, I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday, and I said, is it getting any better? She said, I had one girl run it. I said, what? Let me see your master sheet. Madison Sharp ran that station, so hats off to her. Good shooting.
Yeah, wow. Big stuff.
But, no, it was a great event, and thank you again to everybody at the Cardinal Center. They were awesome. It was great to see, and I think Jake did a very successful shoot. But no rest for the wicked, as they say, because he rolled right out of that shoot, and Monday morning started the Ohio State trap shoot. my gosh, the campers that were coming in Sunday when we were leaving, it was incredible.
I know. Yeah, it was nuts.
And just think, he's got a couple-week break, and he's right into SCTP Nationals where there's like 3,500 plus kids and all their families going to be there. So the guy's just rolling, man. They're super busy this year.
Yeah, just another day at the Cardinal Center.
You know, I was talking to Jake about the amount of registered targets thrown, and I think they're going to take the number one spot in the country this year for registered
Wouldn't
targets.
Wouldn't surprise me, especially after the regional and all.
Yeah, so that's very cool. You know, it's very cool to see something like that and clubs doing that. Moving on from that, we are talking to Mr. Kevin Deichel tonight, and now for those of you that don't know, Kevin switched from Krieghoff to Blaser, and you know, anytime you switch to a new gun, there's all sorts of challenges and that come with it. I don't care how good of a shooter you are. So I'm going to pick his brain a little bit. But speaking of new guns, Sean Alley, we have our Dead Pair Kolar gun. You finally got your meat hooks on that thing this weekend. What'd you think?
That is a gorgeous piece of hardware. I'm telling you, whoever wins that is going to be eternally tickled with that gun. It is beautiful.
And just a reminder to everyone, it's on display wherever Kolar's at, but it's not the wood that's going to come with it. It's going to have grade 3 wood with it that's fit to you. Your choice of high rib, mid rib, or flat rib barrel. So what an opportunity. $32,000 gun. Get your tickets. You know, it's real easy. There's a link in the bottom of the show description for it. You can go to our website, thedeadpair.com, and click on Kolar Drawing. Get your ticket there, or get over to Kids and Clays. It's real easy to find the tickets.
And we will be coming up with a finalized drawing date. Will be towards the end of the year. Doesn't look like our Dead Pair Blast is going to make it happen this year. So we're going to do probably a live YouTube drawing, and hopefully the excited winner will be online and be able to shout up and down once they win it. So anyways, we're looking forward to that. We'll get you a date here pretty soon. We're just working on that now. But yeah, somebody's going to win it. So get over there and get those tickets.
Yeah, and real quick on the Dead Pair Blast, I had a lot of questions about that this weekend, and we've tried working with a few different clubs and just couldn't pull it off last minute. I mean, well, it's not last minute, it's 6 months away, but for a club, that's a big ordeal because they set their dates with the state-run organization, and all those dates are set at the beginning of the year. So blame us, don't blame anybody else. A little late dropping the ball there. We wanted to kind of move the shoot around a little bit. It looks like next year we're going to have one up in the north at the Cardinal Center, and we're working with a few different clubs right now to try and figure it out for December next year. So we'll have one in the north and one in the south. So that'll be pretty good. So bear with us. We have to skip a year, but it'll be back. It'll be back hot.
Yep.
Also, Sean Alley, we've got some discounts for people looking for some glasses or some fine bourbon.
Oh, that's right. You know, you guys, if you enjoy a fine glass of an adult beverage, you can't beat Taconic Distillery. And if you need some shooting glasses, it's hard to beat RE Ranger. So both of those guys are generous enough to offer all of our listeners a 10% discount. The code is the same. If you go and buy something on their website, it's DEADPAIR10, DEADPAIR, the number 10, all one word, no spaces. DEADPAIR10 will get you 10% off. Stock up on your favorite drinks over at Taconic, or get yourself a new set of shiny sunglasses or shooting glasses over at RE Ranger. And again, that's the way you can support us and show our listeners that you support them.
100%. Well, hey, listen, let's get on to Mr. Kevin Deichel. We'll be right back with Kevin. Hey, everyone. Each and every week you hear Sean and I brag about our sponsors. And it's not because they sponsor the show. It's because of their products and the unmatched customer support behind each and every single one of those products. We hope you're taking the time to investigate for yourself, try the products out, and see why we love them so much. Hey, Toby Tomplay, you want to remind everyone who we're talking about?
I'd love to, Jason. Kolar Arms, America's competition shotgun. Fiocchi USA. Here at the Dead Pair, we're fueled by Fiocchi. Ranger Performance Eyewear. See it further, see it faster, see it clearer with Ranger. Atlas Traps, America's finest clay target equipment. Rhino Chokes. For deadly patterns and knockdown power, choose Rhino. Long Range, the industry standard for trap release and target management systems. Taconic Distillery. After the tournament is over, it's time for one more shot with Taconic Distillery. Score Chaser, your shoots simplified. Clay Range Design Works, your one-stop shop for all your clay target needs. And now, back to the show.
The Dead Pair.
All right, it's been a hot minute, but we are joined by Kevin Deichel. What's been going on, Kevin?
Oh, man, just battling this Georgia heat. It's hot out here, buddy. Hot.
Oh, it ain't hot down there. Come on now.
I'll tell you, it really, after we left Ohio, the weather was really nice up there. And we got back, and, buddy, it's on that schedule where it rains every afternoon for about 30 minutes, and then when it stops, the heat is on big time.
Yeah,
Yep.
Humid. Big time, sticky.
Big time, yeah, absolutely.
Well, Kevin, I tell you what, I mean, glad you made it home safely from Ohio. I tell you what, man, you did some good shooting. I know that, specifically, you were our HOA for the Dead Pair Prelim. You beat Brandon Powell in a shoot-off. I mean, competition was tough. How do you feel about that victory?
That was good, man. Anytime I tell anybody, prelim, whatever, 5-stand, whatever it may be, if you can win any event at a regional, a big shoot like that, it's an accomplishment. I hear a lot of people say, well, it's just a side event. Well, it is until you beat 540 people, then you feel pretty good about it, So, yeah, I'm happy with it. I shot a solid round, missed on my last pair on, I think it was station 3. You had a big teal bird and kind of a bird falling in there with him, and missed my last teal bird. And I knew when I missed it, I was like, yep, that's the bird I needed. So anyway, it worked out. Me and Brandon had a good shoot off, and, heck, me and Brandon been shooting off for years. So, I mean, nothing new there. So.
Gotcha. Well, overall, what do you think about our targets that us two idiots set? Jason did all the oddball targets. I did all the even station targets. Any major complaints or concerns or anything?
No, I would call that course unique. Okay, it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Okay, that's the way I'd put it. Okay?
That's probably the best description I've heard.
Yeah, because the reason I'd say that is 1 minute you think you're shooting the Ronald McDonald charity shoot, and then the next minute you think you're in Hungary shooting a World FITASC or something, right? Or World Sport, whatever. So, it was definitely different. Okay. It had close, and then it had bombs. So it was definitely a unique course for sure. Big time. Yeah.
Well, we try to keep you on your toes.
That's right. Yeah.
Here a minute ago, before you got on the phone with us, I've already addressed Station 9, so we don't need to relive that one anymore. But no, I mean, I guess I had a little bit different mentality than Sean. He was worried about the guy in C class, and I was more of the attitude of, we tell people to go out and shoot some big shoots and see some big targets, and we need to give them some big targets. And
right.
I guess I got a little too spicy. So
yeah, that was a hell of a
maybe
pair.
Sean was a little soft. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a hell of a pair. We got up there to it. We had time to talk about that pair for a second, and I was shooting with Dylan Thompson, and he's like, "I want to shoot it on the drop on the second bird." I said, "There ain't no damn way I'm shooting that bird on the drop that far." So I ended up killing that second bird at the top. I went 5 out of 6 on that stand, which I thought, that put you ahead of the curve a little bit. I mean, missing one there ain't the end of the world. So that was a hell of a pair for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good pair. It was a tough pair. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it was for sure.
Well, like I said, we kind of thought about it, and I figured, with Jason setting the tough ones, I kind of gave everybody a break in between. I tried to get, I was focused a little bit more on gun movement and picking which way you were going to shoot it more than trying to make them super hard. So
right, no, it was good.
Like you said, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's probably a perfect analogy for it.
Right, no, it was cool. I don't know that I've ever shot that I know of. I mean, I don't know, of all the targets, but as far as two people doing odd and even, I don't know that I've shot that before. I may have, just didn't know it, but that was different for sure.
Don't let him BS you, Kevin. He's trying to make him out to be the nice guy and let me get the meat hooks. So.
Okay. All right. I see.
Well, it's funny. I talked to David Radulovich out in the parking lot afterwards, and he said, "You know what?" He goes, "What's interesting is about that." He goes, "I don't think I've ever shot a tournament or a course where two different target setters have set the targets." He goes, "It was kind of strange in a way." He said, "But at the same time, it was kind of refreshing." He said, "Because you go set a course typically, and it's the same guy sets the whole course, and you pretty much pick up his flavor or his style, the whole course." He goes, "And I'm just constantly yo-yoing back and forth and back and forth." He goes, "I never got bored." And he goes, "For me to say that," he goes, "that's something."
Yeah, true. Let's face it, David would get out there sometimes on us. Love you, David.
Yes,
Love you.
indeed.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man.
Well, Kevin, I tell you what, let's jump into the big topic. You recently switched your shooting iron.
Yep.
The general question is, how big of a deal is it, or how big of a challenge is it to get used to a whole new gun after you've shot another one for quite a while?
No, that's a great question, right? So I shot a Krieghoff for 15 years. Obviously, that's a lot of rounds. Basically, built a career off that Krieghoff, and decided to make a move. Switched to Blaser, and both guns great. Love the Krieghoff and love the Blaser. Love the people at Blaser. Really have fell into that family, and everything's going great. I would say the number one thing with me that was my fault is when I first got my Blaser, moving to it, I was being hard headed and tried to shoot the factory stock. Wrong, right? Like, and that's my mistake. That's a rookie mistake. I shouldn't have done that. And last year before nationals, I went out and saw Jim Greenwood and got him to build me a stock for that gun. And really, we're only 6 months into shooting that stock, and it's a game changer. I mean, if anybody ever asks me about a custom stock, I'm going to tell them don't even think twice. Go do it. If you're gonna try to be really good at this game, you got to go do it. I mean, that's just one thing you got to add to the list of payments you got to make to be good at the sport. So, yeah,
yeah. Well, Kevin, we've seen a lot of people have new gun syndrome, right? Where they go out and they shoot really well with a new gun, and then they tend to fall backwards. I mean, look, I've done it.
Yeah.
What's really going on there? I mean, talk about that. I mean, is it all psychological, or is it all about just getting used to the gun, or what's going on?
No, it's I've seen that a lot, man. It's new broom sweeps clean. Okay. So basically, when you pick up that gun in your mind, you don't have any negative history with it. Okay. And so we don't have any negative history with it. Everything happens like it should until you get history with it. Right. So, I mean, for instance, I had a kid yesterday come from a lesson, and he shot a Krieghoff for the last 3 or 4 years, and he shows up with a DT-10. And I'm like, what's up with that? And he's like, oh, link to pull. I wanted a longer gun. And he's like, I can't miss with this gun. I was like, all right. I was like, let's see what happens. So he made it 4 stands, didn't miss. And buddy, when he missed, the wheels run off of it. Now I'm talking about run off of it. So it's kind of one of those things where you get a new gun and you're so confident and you're so excited about shooting it, those negative thoughts aren't there. Okay. And you're rolling and everything's happening. Even if it doesn't fit great, you may be breaking them. But then all of a sudden, when you see that little deal happen where you miss, then it runs off, right? Then you're like, okay, now I see it. That new gun syndrome's wore off for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've seen that plenty.
So,
yeah.
If you would, and this is just your perspective, but give us a rundown of the things that are most important to you and what things you can overcome or adjust to, like fit versus weight or balance versus POI. Like, what are the things that have to be 100% when you go to a new gun, and what are the things you think that yourself or any shooter can kind of overcome?
Yeah. So as far as, gun fit, we've already covered, getting you a stock made. But as far as point of impact, right? Like a lot of people like to go over to that pattern board, and that's fine. That's fine. You can nail down your left and rights and stuff like that. But I'm not a real big pattern board guy. I'm more of let's shoot some straightaways and see how hard we hit them. Balance wise, everybody's different there. I mean, I like that weight between my hands. Like McGuire, he's big on light front end. Okay, McGuire's got a heavy back end on his gun, but the way he moves the gun, he's got to get it cooking. So everybody's a little different on that. So I like the weight between my hands, a balanced gun. How do we decide that? We decide that through practice. Like, okay, am I moving the gun too quick? Am I moving the gun too slow? Is the gun beating me up? I mean, there's a lot of things that can go into that where you can kind of, for me, when I get a new gun, there's 6, 8, 10 weeks of going out there. I may be shooting tournaments, but there's still that fine tuning of, this little thing I need to do here. I got to adjust the trigger to this length, or even the poundage on the trigger. Okay. That's another thing we can talk about. Because moving to that blazer, buddy, let me tell you something. You think about sending it, it's sending it. Like sending it. So, that's a little bit different trigger than the Krieghoff had. I had programmed that trigger. I don't know how many shots through that gun. And then that blazer, buddy, you breathe on it, it's going. So, yeah, there's a bunch of different avenues as far as setting a gun up. Definitely think if you're a newer shooter, you can cut the curve by going to somebody, maybe it's somebody that's a better shot or has been doing it for a while, or a coach or somebody that maybe works on guns at the gun club or something like that. But, yeah, switching guns ain't for the faint of heart. I can tell you that. It's especially when, the situation I'm in and did, it's a leap of faith for sure. Right.
Yeah.
A leap of faith.
Well, hey, Kevin, aside from the mechanical stuff, what about like your ammo? I mean, a lot of people say, certain barrels or certain guns like particular ammo. Did you have any struggles to overcome with what you were shooting through the Krieghoff and running that through the blazer?
Not really. Okay. So, for, I don't know how many years now, 4 or 5, I've been shooting, game bore, Dominic Bethel, that owns the Meadows. He has Game Bore US, and he's my shell sponsor. So I shot, ounce and 8, 1300, white gold through the Krieghoff, and that's the same shell I shoot through the, blazer. And then I shoot the Dark Storm on FITAS, the 1 ounce Dark Storm on FITAS. So, yes, I think there are combinations where I see a lot of different shotgun shells and different chokes and different barrels, and some of them you look at, maybe if you're shooting a 15,000, it's like they're shooting a freaking laser beam, just dissolving stuff. Especially in like some of these older Beretta barrels with a pure gold 15 in it. I mean, it'll crush them. But as far as that transition, I stayed with the same shells, and I've shot pure gold chokes for last 16 or 17 years. And I shoot the little ones that Derek Mine designed, the Champion series. And yeah, you get it pointed, it'll hammer them for sure.
Gotcha. So you really didn't have to make any major changes to your ammo after you started running it through the blazer then?
No, I did not. I stayed with the same load. Yeah. And, I'm a bigger guy, and, I'm always bigger is better. So I'm going to shoot the biggest, baddest one out there. And I've said it many a times, and they're like, why do you shoot ounce and 8? I was like, because they won't let me shoot ounce and a quarter. That's why.
We've got a friend like that.
Yeah.
Hey, all right. And this is just your opinion. If somebody's toying around with the idea of switching to a new gun, how many rounds do you feel is a reasonable amount to put down the barrel before you can say, yeah, you finally got a feel for it?
Okay. That's a great question, right? That's a great question. So you're talking about basically after New Gun Syndrome.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. So how long does it take to really know the gun?
I think that question is complicated in, I don't know that it's amount of shells. It may be an amount of confidence. Okay. And this is what I mean by that. So you got a new gun. Okay. That new gun hadn't failed you, but that new gun hadn't won anything either. Okay. So it may be one of those deals where you got a little confidence in that you can win with that gun, and you may go, you may shoot the gun for 4 weeks and go to a tournament, or maybe a smaller shoot, whatever, and you may win with it, and then all of a sudden it's the greatest thing ever. There's your confidence, right? You may be, man, it's taking me a while to figure this thing out, maybe a year before it happens. But, I would say if you shoot a pretty good bit and you're, you shoot like I do, if you shoot, 7,000, 8,000 registered birds a year, I think 6, 8 months, you got a pretty good idea of what you're going to be able to do with that gun. You got a pretty good idea. Yeah.
Gotcha. So if somebody's not shooting that much, it could take them considerably longer, obviously.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing. That's the deal with it. I mean, if you're trying to be good and get a custom stock and this, that, and the other, and you're letting time pass in between practice sessions, yeah, that process could take a lot longer, right? That could, it may never happen if you don't stay consistent shooting, you may never know the full potential of what you've got.
Well, and along those lines, I mean, again, we've covered some of the basic stuff, but it seems like at some point in a shooter's career, they get the itch to switch guns. So what other advice or what other suggestions can you throw out there to our listeners, before they lay down that money and before they, quote unquote, pull the trigger on a new gun? What other advice would you give our listeners before they do it?
Well, one thing that stands out for sure that I see plenty of, okay, it's the sponsorship. Okay. So we'll use names, for instance, gun names, for instance. So maybe somebody's shooting a Beretta. Okay. And they're shooting the Beretta fine. They're actually winning with the Beretta, but the Beretta sponsorship might not be there. Then all of a sudden they're like, well, I really want to be sponsored, so I'm going to shoot this gun. And then you'll see them transfer to that gun and the scores go down by 10 birds. And then a year later, they're either giving the gun back to the sponsor or they're selling the gun or this, that, and the other. So I think a lot of people are so hungry for sponsorship, they'll do anything to get that name on the back of their vest, but then they're sacrificing their score. I think you need to shoot what you can shoot the best and stay with that, and the sponsorship will come. If you do your job and everything's going great, you're winning and this, that, and the other, stay there. It'll happen for you, right? Don't go hunting all these fairy tales over here and all you ended up with is a t-shirt and a bad day, So I'm seeing a pretty good bit of that. So that's definitely one thing. Now, say we're talking about an automatic shooter, all right? Somebody's shooting an auto, pops his Remington 1100 or whatever it is, and I want to shoot a over and under. All right. Well, in my opinion, what you need to do is, especially if you got some buddies that have them, be like, hey man, let's go out a couple times. Let me shoot your gun, or let me go to the U.S. Open and walk down vendor row and test all these out and see which one feels the best, and the weight, and maybe talk to Greenwood or whatever, and really, really spend some time shooting the guns, because I see so many times people just go impulse buy or whatever they may do, and then 2 months later they're like, I can't shoot this damn thing, right? And most importantly, talk to somebody that knows. Don't go talk to Joe Blow that tells you he's a level 19 instructor and been doing it for 2 weeks. Go talk to somebody that actually does this, okay, and can tell you the ins and outs. Because I can tell you about 10 guns right now you don't need to go touch if you want to know the truth about it. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, hold that thought for a minute. Have you had a chance to shoot the new FBX?
Yes. So I actually made it a point to shoot it at the Shooters Championship while we were having it. I was like, dude, I got to shoot this gun because everybody's asking me about it. Okay. So basically the one they have out right now, that FBX they have out right now, is the straight flat rib gun. And y'all know that I'm a high rib guy. Right. So yep. Shot the gun on make or break, shot it great. The recoil's good on it. Feels good. I just need them. They're going to be releasing a Vantage barrel with it here in the near future. And I'm really, really interested in shooting that little step rib on that gun. It could be sweet. But the cool thing about that gun that probably everybody doesn't know is all the F3 barrels fit that FBX. So I technically could put my Super Sport barrel on that FBX and shoot it. I haven't yet, but when I get the chance, I will. But no, the gun's cool.
That was my next question: are we going to see you in an FBX versus the F3? But sounds to me like you're kind of in limbo on it right now.
No, I mean, as of right now, the plans are I'm shooting the F3. I don't know who the FBX shooter is going to be, and I'm sure someone. I hadn't heard that, but they're so hot right now. I mean, I think the first 150 that came in has already gone and spoken for, and the next group of them's gone. I mean, like, I can't even get my hands on one until probably end of the year or something like that. So they're a hot item right now. Everybody's really wanting that gun. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, switching gears a little bit from just the gun itself, I mean, you've been coaching a lot. I mean, in fact, you had to book it out of, Ohio last Sunday because you had lessons on Monday in Georgia.
Right.
Are there times when you train or shoot with certain students, or do you separate that? And I ask that because I've heard it both ways from coaches, either, hey, you never shoot with your students, or, no, there's certain students that I do go out and train with. So what about you? What about Kevin Deichel?
Yeah. So basically, a regular, straightforward lesson is my gun is at my house, right? It doesn't go to the gun club. Okay. Now, I've had plenty of times where they'll call me and say, hey, I'm more of a visual learner than I am talking. Can you bring your gun and shoot the first couple pair and talk me through it? Absolutely. I don't have a problem with that at all. So on those, I'll bring my gun and, shoot the first couple pair, tell them to get over my shoulder, try to learn how to look down the gun. And that's not a bad thing to know either, right? Like, a lot of these people, when they're looking behind their buddy shooting, they have no idea where they're missing, right? And I'll get them up there and be like, all right, look, I want you to sit down the end of my shoulder, look down the gun and watch, see if you can see that flash of gray come out. And actually watch it happen, And then also, I've had the instances where I've had a shooter that was struggling, and they'll say, "Well, you show me how to do it." Okay, so they'll hand me whatever it could be anywhere from a Mossberg to a $30,000 Krieghoff or Blaser or whatever. And I'm like, oh God! So I'll point the gun, I'm like, okay, I can make it work, and actually show it break with their gun. Okay. So I think that's the three different type situations that happen. The gun never comes involved, or I'll shoot their gun on a few stations. Or if it's one of those lessons where they say, hey, I've taken a bunch of lessons with you. We've talked a lot. Now I want to see how you execute. All right, let's do it. So we'll go out there and do it that way. So I think it's all about how the guy at the lesson or the shooter processes things. Do they need to see it? Do they need to talk about it? Whatever it takes, I'm down. I can do whatever. I'm good with it.
Okay. Well, and part of the reason why I asked that is we're right on the heels of Georgia State. And I know how much that tournament means to you as somebody that's multi-time Georgia State champion. Are you willing to share what you do for training leading up to that shoot?
Yeah. So basically, in my mind, coming off Ohio, I shot consistent. I didn't do anything great in the main, but I didn't feel bad about it, right? Like there wasn't any misses I missed because I didn't know what happened. So the confidence is there. Obviously, all week we got a bunch of people. The kids are out of school. People getting ready for Georgia State. Blah blah blah. So the lessons are pretty stacked up. So I'm standing behind shooters all day long, right? Like I'm steadily watching birds. So basically, what's going to happen is Sunday I've got a slot open where I'm going to get to go shoot. But what I'm going to do, the way I like to practice is they're having a 100-bird shoot on our hard course on Saturday. Okay. So the shoot will be over. I'll go begin to look at the number, whoever it may be, let's say Mike McHenry or Cal Millwood shoots 95. I'm going to go on that course and I'm going to go try to beat 95. I'm going to have the number in my head. I'm going to go shoot it. I'm going to try to beat it. I may beat it and feel good about it. I may not. And there may be a certain bird that might be bothering me a little bit, and I'll go spend a few shells on it. But the main thing leading up to it is I want to be there with a confident mindset, right? I want to walk into it thinking, all right, it's all good. Gun's right. I'm right. Vision's right. Everything's right. Let's roll. So I'm not going to do a whole hell of a lot. I'll shoot on Sunday, and then it's pretty funny. McGuire was missing in Ohio. Okay. He's missing, right? Hadn't heard from him. And all of a sudden, I get a picture of Bill with a 33-inch long redfish. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So I'm going to be leaving Tuesday to go fishing with Bill on Wednesday. We're going to catch the redfish before the Georgia State starts. And that's going to be my warm-up right there before it starts.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's right. That's right.
But before we let you go wet a line somewhere, because I know you're probably got that in the back of your mind, we do have some questions for the coaches for you. If you want to rip off a couple of those. Sean, you want to ask him the first one?
Yes, sir. All right. So we had a guy write in, Greg. He asks, I'm having trouble with quartering targets where the trap is set out 25 to 30 yards. The trap is usually off to one side. I've tried all the different methods and I cannot seem to hit the bird consistently. What advice can you offer me to help train on these targets?
Okay. So first off, he started with a hard target. All right. So if that quartering bird is set off 25 to 30 yards, now I don't know if he means a steep quartering from left to right or that machine is out in front a little bit. That would definitely have a have an idea. But what's happening probably on birds like that is if it's a true quartering bird, if it's not got some crossing to it, if it's a true quartering bird, he's probably losing his connection by starting too far out. On a quartering / trap shot that's got a little distance like that, I'm going to have a fairly aggressive hold point where I'm forcing the bird to catch the gun and trying to execute the shot quickly. I'd have to say, that's one of those that would really help if I saw the presentation. But generally speaking, what I would tell him, I would be like, okay, what I want you to do, since I'm not there, I want you to experiment at what it feels like at the hold point, and I want you to start walking that hold point into the machine till it starts to feel connected. Okay, now I can bet, if I had to bet, he's holding too far out, he's calling pull, he's leaving disconnected, and he's shooting high and in front, because that's where most people miss on a quartering bird. I would tell him to tighten it up, force the bird to get to the gun at the hold point, match speed, and kill it. That's the information I'd give him on a quartering bird, if it is a true quartering bird.
Okay.
Good deal.
Cool. Well, I got another one here. Jim asks, on a trap teal, I see a lot of people taking the target at the top. This has been a struggle for me, and I have had better success taking the target on the way up. However, often in true pairs, I have to take that as a second target, I think is what he meant. And it is too far gone to take it on the drop. I've tried being slightly under the target and even right at it. What is the illusion here, and what am I doing wrong? That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so that's a great question. All right, so what's happening is, and I see this a lot. So first off, let's talk about if it's a single trap teal, if it's not a pair. All right, ideally you want to kill that bird before it gets all the way to the top. What happens to people is they think, well, I'm going to let it get to the top and shoot straight at it. Well, guess what? That bird's only still for about that long, all right? Then it's transitioning down. So by the time your brain sees that bird has stopped and it pulls the trigger at the bird, well, by the time the shot gets there, the bird's already drifted a touch and you're over the top of it, okay? So first off, on a single trap teal bird, you want to kill that bird 3/4 to 7/8 of the way up before it gets all the way to the top, in my opinion. All right, now, as far as you're committed to shooting it up there, okay? Let that bird do something, okay? Let that bird make a little move, because what happens is when you kill the first trap teal on the way up and you go to the second one, you've got a lot of gun, a lot of movement going, and then you're going to a bird that's doing nothing. And it's hard as hell for shotgun shooters, especially people that have shot a lot, to just sit there and stop the gun. We want to give it a little. So what I would say, number one, is I would say after I kill that first one and I'm not having success right there at the top, I'm going to let that bird make a little move so I can feel him and connect. Now, the second thing I like to talk about on a bird like that is make sure that when you're pulling the trigger, you're probably going from a bird you don't have a whole lot of muzzle awareness on to a bird you better have muzzle awareness on, because it's a right at it shot. And in my opinion, muzzle awareness is one of the most underrated things in the game. And the reason why is you've got a lot of old school guys that don't want to talk about it, and then you got some new school guys that ain't got a clue about it. Muzzle awareness is a big deal. It's a big deal. And I see all the time on clay shooting, whatever, on Facebook about these guys taking the beads off, and all you got to do is look at the bird and kill it. Good luck. I can tell you that. You better know where the gun is when you need to know when you need to. Yeah,
for sure. Well, Kevin, we've got more for you, but we'll get you back on soon for those. Man, I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us. I know we're catching you right as you get done teaching for the day, and I'm sure you're worn out and wanting to eat some dinner. So appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.
I only got half a beer left. Fish are probably biting out there somewhere.
Bill's probably sent you 4 texts.
Of course they are.
Yeah. Bill's probably sent you 4 texts with pictures of fish, and you're like, I'm talking to these 2 numbnuts. So
no, he's cleaning them. His hands are dirty. He won't even check it right now.
The question is he going to share some of those with you, Kevin? That's the real question.
Look, they just sent me the address. I know where I'm going.
Well, thanks again, Kevin. We surely appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it's always great having you on here, man. We thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Enjoyed the tournament. Enjoyed y'all's targets, and I appreciate y'all giving me a call.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. See you.
Yeah, man.
Well, you can always count on Kevin. He's either busting birds or wetting a line somewhere fishing.
He's consistent, isn't he? But I tell you what, he has a lot of fun to listen to, and he's got a lot of knowledge of the sport.
Yeah, Kevin's a good dude. Appreciate him spending some time with us. And when I say he literally was just getting done with lessons, I mean like 5 minutes in the house, and we've got him on the phone. So appreciate him spending some time with us. And listen, everyone, whether it's Kevin Deichel, I mean, I've said it before, we've got a list of them here that we go through, but if you've got a coach that you want to ask a question to, no matter who it is, write to us. Be more than happy to get your questions answered. It doesn't matter what the question, as long as it pertains to sporting clays, we'll get them on here and ask them.
That's right. And for everybody listening out there, guys, we went to the Northeast Regional. We saw all kinds of makes and models of shooters, everybody from the top of the game all the way down to the new beginners. And you know what? It's fine. Don't ever think that you're not capable of going to a big shoot and at least doing it for the experience. Because like we say, week in and week out, take somebody out there, get yourself exposed to the sport. And if you're new to shooting, don't be afraid of a big tournament, man. Go and, don't set the bar high thinking you're going to be, the greatest shooter in the world. Just go out there and have fun and enjoy the experience and learn from it. Learn from great target setters like Joe Skull and Rick Hemingway and everybody else that contributed out there at Cardinal Center. I mean, it's just a way to build your target library and make you a better shooter.
Yeah. And I would be removed. I missed Eric Dorsey when I was naming off target setters earlier. He set the fee task, did a fantastic job. And I'm going to tell you right now, Cardinal's a little challenging. There's a lot of flat ground there. I mean, unless you're back in the woods on red or something like that, I mean, it can be challenging to set there. And I think all of them did a wonderful job. I'm not putting myself in the greats that we named off. Sean and I were there to have fun and learn and do the best we could, but we learned from some of the greatest. So
yeah, you're never going to see a target setter under my byline on anything that I put out there.
Not putting it on your resume anytime soon, huh, Sean?
Nope. I tell you what, I just have fun with it, try to do the best I can, and hopefully they don't light the torches and get the pitchforks after me.
Yeah, well, see what I mean, everyone? Sean did that on purpose, so they would come after me. So, yeah. So you hear the evil cackle going on over there. But
Kevin said it best, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I thought that was a great analogy for that whole
thing.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, exactly. But speaking of all this, tournaments and everything, Sean, this is so important, our message every week we tell everyone.
Yeah, take somebody new shooting, get them out there with a gun. Just introduce them to the sport. I mean, that's basically all it takes. You guys are the only ones that are going to help grow this sport. So take some time. I mean, if you can just do it once a year, that's a great achievement. If you can do it once a month, you're doing it even more, and we would respect you for that. Post up pictures on our Facebook page. Let the people go out there and break their first target, get a smile. And I tell you what, you'll remember that forever. I promise you. And they will too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sean Alley, this has been really cool, but, here we are again. We're running along. It seems like we have a tendency to do this every week, but it's been very enjoyable with Kevin. Appreciate him coming on and talking to everybody. Don't forget, send us those questions for the coaches. Visit our wonderful sponsors. You'll see why we love their products and promote them so much and why we promote them. So, Sean Alley, until next week, my friend.
Can't wait to see you all back here on the Dead Pair Podcast.
We'll see you next time on the Dead Pair Podcast.
The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, the mark of performance, and is fueled by Fiocchi USA. The Dead Pair theme song was written, arranged, and produced by Toby Tomplay. Special thanks to the following sponsors: Atlas Traps, Ranger Performance Eyewear, Rhino Chokes, Long Range LLC, Taconic Distillery, Score Chaser, and Clay Range Design Works.